What's up, friends? Today I'm back with a super quick video on how to take this flat hardware that I sell on my website and turn it into a perfectly arched, let's see if I can influence you, a perfectly arched piece that fits around the thick seam on any bag that you want to make. In the past, I have just kind of struggled through with bending this piece, and you certainly can bend it, but once you start to bend it, it automatically starts to lose the width here in this bump out, and it gets a little wonkadoodle, and it's just a little challenging because the metal is so strong. It's a little challenging to get a nice smooth curve. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how I figured out how to do that. Enjoy. So in order to turn this flat piece here into this nice rounded curved edge, we are going to use a nice thick piece of acrylic. I am using this zipper overlay template from Mormino. It is super thick compared to regular acrylic. So here's a ruler. So the ruler is about 1/8 of an inch thick. This is probably 3/16 if I had to guess. So it's a thicker piece of acrylic. And what you do is you just take your flat piece, and I'm marrying the edge, the bump out here, onto the edge of the ruler. And I'm just going to apply pressure and curve it around. And then you can see it doesn't quite make a super nice flat curve. It's still a little lumpy. So then what I like to do is I take my rivet press here, and I just have my regular rivet press on here. I'm not using flat plates. However, if you did have flat plates, that would probably work really great for this. You could alternatively use like a glass snipper, probably. You just want some sort of tool that has a nice flat surface that'll apply pressure evenly. But so I'm going to slide it back onto, in my case, this ruler, this thick ruler. And then I'm just going to gently compress my rivet press to where it's flattening all of those lumps and bumps. And then when you pull it off, you can see it makes a really nice curved edge. Now from here, you can take the piece that you want to add your hardware to. And so you're going to slide your D-ring in, and then you slide it right over. And so it gives a really nice wide surface area here to slide over this thick seam. And you don't have to struggle with getting it to fit or trying to bend it around the edge. And yeah, so that's what I have done to figure out how to create a nice rounded edge for these otherwise flat hardware pieces. The other part of this hardware that I have recently started toying around with is, rather than using a D-ring as my connector on the hardware, I use a square ring in this case. So this is a 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch square ring, and you slide it into the hardware. Slide it into the hardware just like you would the D-ring. But now, instead of having to use a lobster clasp to attach your strap, you can just attach your strap so that it's permanent and not removable. So I'll show you how I do that as well. So I just take my hardware, and with whatever ring I'm using on it, so that way I have the proper spacing here, I'm going to slide it right onto my seam. And I'm a wild woman. I snap right into my seam, because otherwise, if I bump it to the back, to me, it's really obvious and apparent when you're looking at the bag straight on, and it kind of makes it hang a little funny. So I go right into the side seam. Now, do with that information what you will. You know, you make your own decisions. But so I lay the hardware right in place where I want it to be once it's installed, and then I'm going to use my silver marking pen and trace out that hole right there. So you can see I have it marked. I'm going to take my radial hand punch, and I know it feels so weird to snap right through the seam, but I've done it. So far, so good. And then so there's my hole. I'm going to take a nice long rivet here. This is, I would imagine, a 9-inch rivet. I accidentally pulled off my label, so I'm not too sure, but it does look like probably a 9-inch cap by a 9-inch post. And so you slide your hardware on, align the hole that you just punched, and then put your post through the hole. Whoa, everything's so fiddly. It's all tiny. So there we go. It slides right through that hole, and then you're going to add your cap on the other side, just like so. Now I'll just repeat that for this side. So the other thing here is that Most of the time we're making 1-inch wide straps, and a lot of my patterns call for 1/2 inch or 1-inch wide. So this 3/4 inch, you have to amend the width of your strap. Now I did that just by doubling the width. So if I need a 3/4 inch wide strap, you just double that width. So that's 1.5 inches. And then I cut that by the length of the strap that I want, which in my case is usually 55 inches long. And then I fold it in half lengthwise and stitch down the entire strap to create a 3/4 inch wide strap that looks like this. Now the reason I do 4 stitch lines here is because if you look on the back side, there's that seam where I folded my strap in half, and I wanted stitches to hold down that seam so that it didn't flop open when the bag was being used. And I just really love the way that a quadruple stitch line looks. This thread is the thread that comes in the project box by Mormino, and it's a beautiful variegated pink to sky blue to light purple, lavender to navy. I love it so much, and it's a really beautiful contrast as well as a match to these purple bags that I used on the purple corks that I used on the bag. So once you get your rivets here, you want to be sure that you set them into place. You're just going to use whatever rivet setting tools you have. Of course, I have my rivet press. And then there we go. Now we have 2 pieces of hardware that are permanent rather than removable. And it looks great, it's super functional, and they're nice and sturdy because of the brass material that they're made out of. This pattern, of course, is my mini box tote, and then I used, if I remember the name, I'll look it up on the selvage and put it in the notes for you, but so I did these beautiful purple corks, this like lilac and then eggplant. So in order to complete your strap, you need a strap slide, and I like to find the side, see this one has really nice seams here, and this is where I started and stopped. So I'm going to put that around the middle section. And I'm being mindful of where my seam is. You want the seam to be on the inside of the fold. So I'm just going to loop it right around that middle section there. Make sure everything is nice and lined up. Punch a hole. Add a rivet. So for the strap, I'm adding a smaller rivet because I don't need that much post length. I want to ensure that the rivet will snap correctly. All right, so now we have the strap adjuster in place, and what I'm going to do is with the inside of the strap face up, I'm going to find the other end, and I'm going to loop it through my square on the left side. And then you just want to be sure that you're not twisting as you go. And then I'm going to come back up and over, and back down. And see, now you can tell that the strap slide is engaged. I have a big seam here from where I attached my 2 pieces of cork. And then again, ensuring that nothing is flipped, I'm going to loop it from the outside of this strap attachment over here, and then punch a hole and add my rivet. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And then this is what it looks like when the strap is completed and installed totally. Friends, I hope that you enjoyed that really quick tutorial on how to turn all of my flat hardware into curved hardware and enjoyed the bag. This, of course, is my mini box tote. You can find this pattern on my site. For this one in particular, I added some Decaville Light to the cork as well as to the lining, so it's got a really nice thick structure, and I think that it'll just help with the longevity of the cork. And yeah, so I've just been kind of toying around with adding interfacing to my corks just because I want to, and I'm really loving the outcome. This is my first video in this studio. You can see I have a blank wall behind me still. I tried to angle to show my pegboard just to have something to look at, but I'm taking suggestions for what I should have behind me. All of my tools are now up on the walls to my left and in front of me, so I don't have that same background that I used to have, which, if you remember, it was all my rolls of cork. Luckily, I decided to not do that because you might remember in my vlogs, the walls don't like a lot of weight. So I'm really glad that I didn't have that plan to begin with. But to give you an update, I did get my coat rack up on the wall. I use toggle bolts. It's working fine right now. And yeah, it's got a lot of weight. It's fully loaded because I'm vending this weekend and I probably have, I don't know, 35 bags on it right now. And it is doing great. And I did it all by myself. I also hung this pegboard by myself. I almost wish I had recorded that because it was hilarious. It was, yeah, it was a lot. It was a couple day project because I had to go get spacers. It just ended up being a whole thing, which of course, why wouldn't it be, right? Anywho, I hope that you enjoyed this first quick tutorial. I will be back very, very soon with some sewing tutorials because I am speaking to you from my setup. So another update from the second vlog is I did get my ceiling mount and it is up, it is sturdy, it is strong. We are back, folks. So drop me some comments below with what you would like to see. I do have some stuff coming up. I talked about it in my Patreon group of all the patterns that I want to make, but if you have seen any new patterns or have any suggestions for techniques or anything specific, let me know. I love these really short form videos. So stuff like this is really palatable for me to put out for you guys. So let me know. As I was editing the video, I remembered that I wanted to share with you that I am very close to being out of the black nickel finish on this hardware. Please excuse Joppa, apparently he's had a long day. Because there were issues during the making process, I pulled out a lot of the black nickel that I was not 100% on. There's just like some minor scuffing or scratches, or the finish almost has like a rainbow patina to it, but it's kind of swirly. And they just weren't 100%. So I pulled them, and in doing so, that really lessened the amount that I had to sell. I am going to sell these scratched pieces as sets as well at a discounted rate. So they're just like B quality. And I thought that I would show you some of them. And most of them are pretty okay. I actually just pulled them all out and started looking through them again. And you can almost sell them as fine, but I just don't want anybody to be unhappy with their purchase. I know hardware is not cheap. And so I just want to be sure that you guys are getting the best that you can. So here is one that I pulled because it has some minor scratches on it. It's kind of hard to see because of the light, but there's some scuffing here on the bent part. And then this one here, you can see in the light, it has that scratch right across the whole piece. And then this one here has some scuffs up in that area, if you can see that. So this will be the grade B scratched. I'm calling them scratched or grade B. I haven't made the listing yet. It'll be one of the two, and it'll just be black nickel for now. I do have some nickel in the same boat, but not nearly as many. But I wanted to add this caveat at the end of the video that A, I'm almost out of grade A, and B, you can access the scratched black nickel using the link down below. So the sets will still come with the D-rings and the rivets. Don't mind my pinky. I've been doing work on that little number. I quit biting my nails several years ago, but my cuticles better watch out because I still get them. But anyways, so the full sets, it'll still be a full set. It'll come with the 10 rivet caps, the 10 rivet posts, the 5 D-rings, and then the 5 arches. Going forward, once I restock all of these, I will not be doing rivets anymore. I'm just going to be doing the actual hardware because I figured that you guys can source your own rivets based on the projects that you need. So as a summary, once again, almost out of black nickel, grade A, grade B, scratched. I have a few sets. This bin is full of some sets. There are only 22 scratch sets, so once they're gone, they're gone. And that link will be below. And then moving forward, once I restock, they will not include rivets. And it'll be probably at least a month until they arrive. They are being made right now overseas, and everything takes so long when you order it from the factory. So, okay, bye.